win. This guy's going to win? I'll ask you as Republicans, when are you going to stop believing that lie?
Another rhino.
The 16th time? The 17th time? When are you going to stop believing that? Don't get me wrong. Locally, there are some good Republicans, and locally Republicans can win. Absolutely. I'm talking statewide. In a statewide election, a Republican hasn't won anything. Lieutenant governor, governor, AG, senator, in 16 years. And this is the year? What, the state's getting redder? Stop, guys. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. It is simply wasting your time and energy. Here's what I promise you. You vote red or you vote blue. Blue team comes in first. Red team comes in second. No change. That's been happening for 16 years. No change. If you're happy with no change, vote red or blue. You'll be fine. The same thing will happen. And what happens to the red team? The red team goes back home and goes back to sleep. 4 years later, they crawl out. They shake somebody off, convince somebody to become their sacrificial lamb, kick them out, give them a bunch of money, and move on. You think I'm joking? Look at the current Republican and look at where his money comes from. Half of his money comes from the establishment. His lieutenant governor wrote him a check for $45,000. She bought her way on. I'm not joking. Look at that. That's absolutely true. It's public knowledge. That's how they got on there. Not just that, he had raised about $1 million. Last time I checked, he had $900,000 left. If you're trying to win, why do you have $900,000 in the bank? Why? Because you're holding that money for your next election. That's all you're doing. You're taking that money from the establishment. You wait until the next election because you know you can't win. It's so obvious he can't win. He knows he can't win. How do I know he can't win? I bet there's people in this room who are registered Republicans who don't know his name. There we go. Yes. And that's every room. You know me before you know him, and you think he's going to win? Stop, guys. Stop. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy.
Hey, at first I thought you were the Republican.
That happens all the time. That happens all the time. All the time I get that. Yes. I actually had a person walk up to me. I was out of a prison. I think I was in front of Auburn. I think I was in Auburn outside the prison facility meeting corrections officers. And one of the guys comes by and he says, "Oh yeah, I got to talk to you. You're the guy whose running mate loves the SAFE Act." I'm like, "No, that's the Republican." And he's like, oh, right, different guy. Sorry, my guy's a militia member. Not that, no, different guy. Totally different, yes. So that's actually what happens. You're correct. It happens all the time. So that's the first thing I get. To be forward with you. If anything, he's taking votes from me. Because that becomes the second piece. Larry, you can't win. But here's the thing you got to realize. 70% of New Yorkers don't vote. 70% don't vote. And the only person who gets people who are registered Republicans, registered Democrats, and people who haven't even registered to vote is this guy right here. I'm the only one. Every event I go to, I get registered Democrats, registered Republicans, and people who don't vote. I get people walk up to me at a fair and literally say this, "Larry, I registered to vote just for you. I wasn't going to vote." Is that you? There we go. There's one right there. Yes, all the time. This happens all the time. Now, note, I don't know who's in this room. I just said that because it happens all the time. It is the norm. In fact, to our page, and Carrie's here. Is Carrie here? There we go. She will attest that. She works my Facebook page and a lot of my social media. Every single day, I get messages to the page, messages to Twitter, Instagram. I'm a registered Democrat, and I'm voting for you. I'm a registered Republican, and I'm voting for you. I haven't voted in the last election cycles, and I'm voting for you all the time. Am I right?
Not only right, but the volume is going up rapidly.
Yes, more and more people are getting it. We're on the rise. So this is the only way we cross over. This is going to be a 5-way, maybe a 6-way race if Nixon actually stays in this thing. I can't believe she would, but she might. That's a 6-way race. New York State's a plurality state, not a majority state. It's a plurality state, which means you simply have to have more than the rest. 30% is a victory. 30%. I already poll at 25% with people who know who I am. Already. Yes, already. My issue is name recognition. If I get more people knowing who I am, then what happens? I can win this thing. 5 points out, it's a winnable race. That's the critical piece. This is a winnable race. And people think it's not. It is. Other attack I get, Libertarian Party hasn't won in X number of years. They never get this, they never. This is absolutely true. 100% true. Absolutely. And the last 3 gubernatorial candidates combined did not raise $10,000. I've raised $300,000. This is not your daddy's Libertarian Party. This is not your daddy's Libertarian Party at all. Not just that, I've made more campaign stops, and I'm not even done yet, than all 3 combined. This is not your daddy's Libertarian Party. This is the difference. Now, some of you are saying, Larry, that's great, but I'm not Libertarian. I just like you. Okay, good. I like that too. But let's be clear about something. If I win this thing, when I actually win this thing, I will make better Democrats and better Republicans. Amen. Yes. So even if you want to go back to your party, you want to go back to being Democrat, back to being Republican, okay, if you want to, that's up to you. You can vote gold at the top, the ticket, right, for the governor, and then vote Democrat, Republican at the bottom ticket if you want to. Up to you. If you want to do that, that's fine if you want to do that. But realize something. Right now, they don't care about you. I don't mean that to be cruel. I mean it to be honest. How do I know that? If you've gone to actual fairs, like I have, I've gone to many fairs. I go to a fair in a Republican county, a red county, the Republican booth is empty. If you paid attention to my Facebook page, I've posted pictures of it, several of them. Pictures of empty Republican booths in red counties. Guess what happens in blue counties? Empty Democrat booths. Yeah. They take you for granted. They take you for granted. Republicans are supposed to be about smaller government, less taxes, Second Amendment. They're not. When Democrats yell at them, no one hears. Democrats are supposed to be about civil liberties. They're not. Republicans agree with them. No one cares. But what happens when I talk about it? Now things change. What happens when I say something? Now things change. I want you to imagine something. I win this thing. It will change everything overnight. And I mean everything. Right now, how it works, one side wins, and when that side wins, they yell, elections have consequences, and they impose their will upon the losers. This is why His Majesty King Andrew doesn't care about you. Because he knows if 70% of the people don't vote, he'll yell about Trump, his base will show up, he wins. That's his strategy, and sadly, it's working. You might not like that, but that's true. It's working. The people give up, they don't show up, his base shows up, he wins. Then he imposes will upon you and ignores you for 4 more years. That's what he's been doing for the past 8. And he'll keep doing it because it works. We can change that. We can make it to where when now I win, I don't decide to impose my will upon anybody. I instead say, you know what? Why don't we let counties be counties? Why don't we let cities be cities? Why don't we let regions be regions? I told you I fell in love with this state again while traveling it. Why? Because it's diverse. If you sit in the middle of the state, you can go 3 hours and go to amazing waterfalls, beautiful lakes, mountains as good as Colorado, farmland as beautiful as the Midwest, amazing rivers, and the largest city in the nation. You get all of that in one state. But what does that mean? That means we're a diverse state. And Rochester is not New York City. Western New York is not Long Island. North Country is not Southern Tier. I get that. I get that. Imagine a governor who understood that. A governor who said, my job is not to impose my will upon you, but my job instead is to support and defend the rights of the individual against the local bullies. Yes, absolutely. Democrats want to be your mother and give you everything. Republicans want to be your father and protect you from everything. I want to be your brother. I just want to be your brother. You love me. You don't want to live with me. But you love me, right? You love me. And when you have a problem, you need a ride to the airport, I'm there. I'll give you the ride to the airport. That's who I want to be. I want to love you like a sibling. I'm going to treat you like an adult. And when you need help, then I step in. If you don't, see you at Thanksgiving. That's how that works. Yes, this is what I want our government to be, and it can be that. We can be a firefighter government. Of course we can. People love firefighters. I want to be that guy. We can do that. We'll change everything. But let me go to a place that some people don't like when I go to, but I will go anyway. What happens if I come in second? If I don't win, I come in second instead. All right, you may say, well, Larry, then we wasted our time. Not at all. If the Republican comes in second, what happens? Nothing. He goes home, goes to sleep again. Done. Wait 4 more years, get punished for 4 more years. We all pack up, go to North Carolina. That's what happens. But instead, I come in second. Here's what happens. I get a microphone in my face every single day. How'd you do it? Oh my God, how'd you do it? And when that happens, I'll be the guy saying every single day, I actually cared about the Second Amendment. I actually cared about small business. I actually cared about individual liberty. I actually cared about smaller government. I cared about less taxes. I cared about the small farmers. I cared about criminal justice. I cared about family court. All the things I talk about again and again and again, I get to say again and push again and talk about again. There will still be change even if we come in second. That is how powerful this campaign is. I'm doing this because it matters. Now, I told you a secret, and that was this state is more than just New York City. I don't just want to talk the talk, I want to also walk the walk. How did I do that? One, by traveling across the state, both upstate and downstate, but also by picking a very special person as my running mate. Those of you may know who my running mate is. My running mate is a guy from Rochester, Western New York. I picked the guy from Western New York. Yes, I did. The guy I picked is a man that I know, that I supported in 2017. He's a man that I trust. He's a man who supports the Second Amendment. He's a small business owner just like me. He's a guy like me who does not have a constituency to support, who does not have a career he has to protect, who does not have people he has to repay when he gets elected. I picked a man just like that, and that man that I picked is Andrew Hollister. Come on up, Andrew. Say a couple words, please.
Absolutely. Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, so I got to switch mic.
You guys excited to see Larry today? Yeah? Now, often when I meet a crowd of people, I share my story, why I'm doing this. And
love it.
Everybody loves it. Yeah, I haven't even shared the story yet. It's great. Rochester is my hometown, right? And for many of you here, it may be as well. Many of you here, New York State may be your home state. I wasn't always involved in politics. In fact, I'm fairly new to politics, just a few years. And 2 years ago, something happened in my life that made me realize I need to fight for more change. 2 years ago, I got married. 2 years ago, my wife and I started planning for children. And who knows what every single person who heard that asked me, almost verbatim. Anybody got a guess?
Where are you going to raise them?
Where am I going to raise them? When are we going to leave? Number one question every single time, and I bet you people in this room have asked somebody else that or have been asked that. And at first I didn't get it. I didn't know why. Well, then I realized as I started looking at things like where to raise children. Oh, New York State ranks 39th for graduation rates in K through 12. 39th. 33rd for math and reading for K through 12. Now our higher education, our college education, it's better. We're 14th. We've got some amazing schools, some good local schools, RIT and U of R. But what about the in-between? What about opportunities after a child gets educated? 40th for unemployment. That's where we are, 40th. My home area, I grew up in the 19th Ward, Rochester City School District. Last in the nation, Detroit beat us. Detroit beat us, yes. Yeah, that's not the race we wanted to win. It's not. But unfortunately in New York State, those are the things we're winning. We're hitting the top 5 for poverty, top 5 for taxes, top 5 for least freedom. We're 50th for freedom.
Beat California.
We beat California. 50th. So I realized I had to make a choice. Larry may have already said this. 100,000 New Yorkers leave this state every single year. 175,000 last year. Was I going to be one of those numbers? Thought about it. My wife actually found some really cool houses in South Carolina. Really cool houses. Yep. Yep. And I've got friends who already left. I do. And they're like, yeah, come on. They're sending me cool pictures of them shooting guns, eating bacon, and hanging out in the sun. And then they send me a copy of their tax bill, and they're just kind of poking and laughing at me like, sucks. Yeah. It's New York today. But then I thought about what New York is to me, what Rochester is to me. It's 4 seasons. I want my children to grow up with 4 seasons. I grew up hunting in the southern tier. I'd like my kids to have the opportunity to do that. Grew up hiking the Adirondacks. I'd like my kids to do that. Going to the Naples Grape Festival, our cider festivals, our pumpkin festivals, and everything else in between. I want my kids to know what a garbage plate is. Come on. Who doesn't want their kids to know what a garbage plate is? So I decided I would stay here in New York instead of leaving and fight for the type of New York that a parent would want to say, that's where I want my kid to grow up. Yeah. That's what we're doing. So I know you guys are probably going to have a bunch of questions. I'm going to turn it over to Larry here. Let him take it over. If you guys have a question specific for me or Larry, we can take turns. But that's who I am. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I watch my friends get a good college education and leave this state. I watch our taxes and our high regulations separate families. I do. Young people, older people, everywhere in between. We all know somebody who's gone to California, one of the Carolinas. Maybe they come back. Maybe they don't. But I want to change New York into a state where we're sending them pictures of our tax bills and of our freedoms. And they go, crap. And we point at them and go, aha. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Isn't that guy great? Oh, God, yes. I'm so happy that I was lucky that he actually said yes. I actually thought he would tell me no. I did. I thought he would tell me no. And I thought the reason why he'd tell me no was because of his wife. Well, his wife will go, oh, no, Larry's going to drive you crazy. He's going to make you go across the stage. He's going to make you take it. No way. And he went to his wife. I was like, Larry, yes, go. What are you doing? Go, go, go. That was great. So I appreciate that tremendously. So the reason why, let me give you quickly who I am. Most of you probably know who I am, but some of you don't. So I'll tell you. I'm a city boy. Not ashamed of that, happy about that. I got a country boy as a running mate. So yeah, so I'm a city boy. I'm actually born in Manhattan. I was adopted, and I was brought to the South Bronx, and that's where I was raised as a small kid. And I'm a big Yankee fan. Right by Yankee Stadium is where I was actually, raised. But this is the 70s. This is the age of Reggie Jackson and that time, if those of you who are old enough to remember the Yankees back then. That was my world. My father was a corrections officer at Rikers Island. My mother was a waitress and worked at a bank. Then we left and went to Long Island. When we went to Long Island, my father passed away. And when he died, it was very hard for me and my mom, as you can imagine, if you know someone who's lost a parent when they're young. My mother had a lot of trouble with it, and I ran off to join the Marine Corps. And I tell this story often, some people really like it. I didn't go off to join the Marine Corps. I went off to join the Army. I went to join the Army because my father was in the Army. So I said, I'm going to follow my father's footsteps, and I'm going to join the Army. So I go to join the Army, and there's actually all 4 recruiters in the same building. I passed the Navy, I passed the Air Force, I go into the Army recruiter, and I say, hey, I want to join. He's like, wonderful, we're going to make you a general in 6 months. You're going to cross the country, you're going to cross the world, meet beautiful women, and it's going to be awesome. You're going to get a doctorate degree in 3 weeks. Like, oh my God, it's great, I love it. Grab all the stuff, and I walk outside. As I walk outside, the Marine Corps recruiter is waiting for me. He says, hey, son, you got a second? I said, yeah. Come on in. Sits me down. He says, that Army guy, he promised you a lot, right? I said, yeah, he did. I'm going to be general in like 6 months, run the whole Army. It's going to be awesome. And he said, yeah, we call that the solar plan. Everything under the sun. And he said, you know what I'm going to promise you? I said, what? He said, 4 hard years. You ready? I went, yes, and I signed up. And I look back at that, and at that time I didn't know why I did it. But I look back now and I know I was really struggling for positive male role models. I didn't have many in my life. And having that was exactly what I wanted. I was struggling for them. So I was very happy to get that. The military is not for everybody. Not everybody should join. But it did help me. I'm very happy that I was a Marine. I say it saved my life. Without the Marine Corps, I would have been a punk. I would not be here without the Marine Corps, and I'm happy that I'm a Marine, and I'm happy that it happened. When I got back from the military, about 7 years later, my mom was in trouble. My mom could not handle at all what happened to me leaving and my father dying, and she was first addicted to legal drugs and eventually illegal drugs. She was arrested and the victim of the war on drugs. I pulled out of prison. When I pulled out of prison, she literally had 2 garbage bags as all her entire life. So what do? I got to help her. I have to do something, right? I got to fix this problem. So what do? I take my savings and I try to get her set up with a car, an apartment, and get her started. She struggled, and if you have anyone in your world who's a felon, you know it's hard to do this. It's very difficult. So I saw both sides of this. I saw my father as a corrections officer at Rikers, and I saw my mother go through the system on the opposite side. I saw both of them. And I saw her struggle. I saw that she was hard to get a job, and when she got a job, she felt like she was a hostage because if she lost that job, there's no other job for her. And I said, I don't want that anymore. So I decided again, I'm going to do something. So we started a business, because my logic was, if we're the owners, you can't fire us. That was my logic, right? My mom's not going to be a hostage. I'm not going to be a hostage. We're going to go off and start a business. So we did. We became truckers. I became a trucker. So me, my mom, and my stepdad, she got remarried by then. We started a business. She actually ran that business until she retired. And when she retired, guess what she did? She left New York. She went to South Carolina. She retired in South Carolina. She's passed away since then, but she actually retired in South Carolina. So after that time of us being in business, and she ran that business until she was done, I took off. Did other things with my life and had different jobs. I started a business that failed and I sold it off. I then started a second business. That's the one I have to this day. I've had it for 14 years now. I struggled horribly after the crash. I had to shut it down and reboot it. I had to fire my employees. The crash destroyed me completely. And now I'm back. And when I got back, I'm now a trainer, a consultant, a teacher. I've been an executive in a public company twice, two different times. I've also been a teacher. I've had large clients like Modell's and Estee Lauder, and smaller clients like law firms and IT firms. In addition, I've taught at John Jay College and Baruch College, and I've been a guest instructor at the graduate level of Yale and Columbia. So when I talk about these things, you will hear a very common thing, and that is, I don't like it, I don't want to be a hostage, I'm going to fix it. That is my personality. It's what I'm always trying to do. It's why everything you hear me, it follows that same thing. It's one of the reasons why you notice when I speak, I have no notes. When I talk, I don't have any notes. I don't have prepared stuff that I'm going to talk about and look down and read. I don't do that. I just speak. I do that because I've already thought this stuff through. I have a policy team. I know how to put a team together, and we make things work, and we have ideas. So I could sit here for 4 hours and tell you about all kind of cool things. I won't. What I'd like to do instead is spend more time asking you what you care about and letting me give you my ideas and concepts based upon those things. And any questions or comments you have, here are my rules. No rules. You will never see me walk up and go, I got some ground rules here. Nope. You can say whatever you want. You can insult me, and I get insulted. If any of you see me on the radio, any of you see me on TV, any of you see, yes, I get insulted. And I'm fine. If you see me on social media, I get insulted. It's fine. But one thing you'll notice, let me bring it real fast, social media. Anybody here, a Republican, who has been banned from Republican social media? Anybody? Yes. Every single time I see that. It's an insane thing. Anybody been banned from my page? No. I never ban you. Even when you insult me, and some of you probably have. Even when you insult me. Think about that. A Republican page, either the New York GOP or the actual campaign of the sacrificial lamb, whoever it is, they will literally ban you, and you're one of them. It's insane. This is where we are. Literally saying you can't talk and communicate with the people you're supposed to talk to. And I'm here saying go ahead, do whatever you want. It's insane. Anyway, let me open it up to the floor. Go ahead, please.
So, I'm a transplant in New York. And,
Okay.
I was drawn to you to your stance on family law.
Family law. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
As 50% of the population, and a guy who's actually in the act of going through a divorce right
Yep.
now, I'm stunned at how slanted the legal system is.
It's horribly bad.
against me.
Yep. Yes.
As a guy who's never even been accused of harming my children or my wife or anything like that, I'm going into a courtroom and being told, prepare yourself to get fucked.
That's correct, because you will.
And,
You're right. You will. Yes.
And
That's correct. You will be bent over. Yes. It's correct.
What's
That sounds horrible. That's going to happen.
Specifically,
Yep.
are you intending to do about that?
Let me tell you, it's a great question. Why do I care about fathers' rights? And I call it fathers' rights. And that makes some women unhappy. I know it does. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. But I call it fathers' rights for several reasons. Because the courts generally screw fathers over far worse than mothers. They do screw mothers over too. This is a bad system, period. And moms do get beat up. But it's 95 male, 5 women. It's just how it works. And to make sure I'm sorry I say it because it's real. I go to fathers' rights events and what do I see? A sea of broken men. I can't fix a state with a sea of broken men. I simply can't. And a sea of broken fathers means by default a sea of broken children. That's how it works. You ask the corrections officers, what's one of the biggest things they notice in prison? These guys have no fathers in their lives. They said again and again and again. It's a huge issue. And the courts are making things worse. So how do we fix that? 3 things. Well, why do I care? It's not my system. I'm not divorced. I haven't gone through it. Why would I care? I don't have a horse in this race. But I do because it's right. I'm the guy who will defend this and talk about this anyway, even though no one else seems to care. It's a horrible, broken system that destroys men. So why don't other gubernatorial candidates bring it up? Why don't they talk about it? I'll tell you why. People who've been broken, particularly men who've been broken in the system, don't have any money. Their money goes to lawyers or to their family. They can't donate. And if you can't donate, what value do you have? Sadly, that's how most politicians think. Clearly, this guy doesn't think that way. Otherwise, I wouldn't care. But I do care. I know you can't donate to me. It doesn't matter. It's wrong. 3 things we have to do. Number 1 thing, some of you may not know this. If you lie in family court, it is not treated like perjury. Let me say it again. If you lie in family court, it is not treated as perjury. So what is the punishment for lying? Nothing. Now that actually comes from our past. New York State was very behind. New York State was one of the last states to allow no-fault divorces. So in the past, you had to have a fault. What would happen? People would lie. You and I be married. We don't want to live together anymore. We want to break up. But there's no fault. So one of us would have to lie. So you would say, yeah, I cheated on him. Okay, great. You're the bad one. Let's get divorced. You didn't cheat on me. You'd have to lie. Yeah, I beat her. You did? Yep, I'm a bad guy. Okay, great. You get divorced. That's how it used to be. That has stuck throughout our court system. It hasn't gone away. So now it's become almost the norm. So here's what actually happens. They're getting divorced, right? I'm his lawyer. I literally go, I'm not saying she cheated on you, but if you tell the judge that, you might get the kids. Now, you might think I'm laughing or joking. If you've been through the system, you know that's true. And I actually did this exact same thing in an actual event like this, and there was a family law attorney in the room. And she got up and said, I would never do that. That's what she said. And I said, I didn't say you do. I say it happens. Are you telling me it doesn't happen? Here's her reaction. That was her literal reaction. Just this. Because she knew it was true. Why? Because it works. And here's the problem. The system currently is set up that if you tell the truth, you're going to get hurt. Because you tell the truth, the other person will not. And the sad part is when a judge hears the first lie, the judge believes the first lie. And the second someone says, you beat your wife, and you go, I didn't beat my wife. Oh my God, he beat his wife. That's what happens every time. And now what winds up happening? Divorce is already horrible. There's already hurt feelings. There's already feelings of betrayal and anger and disappointment in any divorce. Of course there is. Now add on lying. You are making each person literally hate each other. And I mean vitriolic, horrible, deep-rooted hate. And when I hate you, I will do anything to punish you. Anything. To include make sure you take no money, you get no money, you starve. I will use my children against you. I will use my family against you. I will do anything because I have vitriolic hate against you. That happens every single day in this state. It destroys us. But worse, when it comes to parenting, this is heavily based upon parenting also, and that is, in New York State, it doesn't begin 50-50 parenting. It begins, wife gets custody, father gets 4 days a month. That's the starting point without any other information. The wife could be the worst wife in the world or the best wife in the world. Doesn't matter. Husband could be the best husband in the world, the worst husband in the world. Doesn't matter. It begins there. Now, I'll hear all the time, Larry, you're trying to get deadbeat dads to be okay. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is make it honest. That's all I'm saying. If you were a bad wife and cheated all over me, I should only say that if it's true. If it's not true, I shouldn't say it. If you were a bad husband and beat your wife up, she should say it because you were bad and beat your wife up, right? Please don't beat people up, wives or anybody else. Don't do that. Bad idea, right? Don't do that, right? No matter what. So if it's true, it should come out. If a guy's a bad guy or he's a bad dad or a bad mom, you should say it. It should be true. But imagine 1 second. Hold on. Imagine if actually he says that to her, and now it finds out he's lying. She never cheated, and that comes out. And it often does in court. It comes out the person was lying, and there is no repercussion whatsoever. But what if what happened when that happened is all of a sudden, wow, perjury. You're going to jail for 30 days, and I lose my license. That happens one time, this stops. And now it's just, if you're a bad person, then people say real things. The lies stop. The lies make this so horrible because the people who see the lies are the children. They sit there and they watch it. And they watch mom lie on dad, dad lie on mom, uncle come in and lie, grandma, grandpa come in and lie, and their image of manhood is a liar. And their image of womanhood is a liar. And they are crushed. How in the world are you going to get over that to become a better person, have good relationships, and believe in marriage, and believe in that when your image is two people who've turned into animals? Horrible. The system is broken. That's step one. I'm not done. Then there's step two. The problem is right now the focus is number one on money. And that's wrong. Money matters. 100% it matters. But money should be number two. Number one should be children with kin. That should be number one issue, children with kin. I lost my father when I was 12. I would have rather had a broke dad who could only give me ice cream every month than no dad, any day of the week. Any day of the week, I'd have taken a broke dad happily than no dad. And the state right now is making sure there's no dad. Right now what happens is, you're a dad, and let's say at one point in your life you made $100,000. One point in your life. You must now make $100,000 the rest of your life until your kid's 21. How is that legal or right in any way, shape, or form? If you were married, would you have to? Of course not. Not just that, in today's world, particularly in New York State, companies leave the state. The company packs up and leaves. What are you going to do? You lost your job. Not just that, in today's economy, the job you have today, 20 years from now, doesn't exist. How in the world can you have to do that? And if you don't do that, here's the brilliance of it all. You must do it until your kid's 21. You must do it. And if you can't, you lose your job, you get laid off, your company leaves. The judge says, do it anyway. I don't have a job. Get a second job. Judge says that. Make sure you never see your kid. The judge just said, never see your kid. Because money matters more than you being in your kid's life. Shame on you, judge, for thinking that. Horrible, shame on you. You could have given me a whole bunch of money as a kid when I was 13, 14, 15. I'd have given it all back for my dad. I'd have given all of it back for my dad. Without question, I wanted my dad in my life. Now, court takes your dad away? Yeah, I get upset. I do, I get emotional. I get upset. A court takes my dad away. What's wrong with you? Gets worse. You don't pay? We'll take your driver's license away. What idiot thought that was a good idea? What idiot said, you know what we'll do? We'll make sure he can't go to work anymore. An idiot judge thought that was okay. Punishment and righteousness over common sense. That's what our family court is. Punishment and righteousness over common sense. That's not bad enough? We'll take your professional license away. That'll teach you. Now you can't make money. Your professional license is suspended. Here's the best one of them all. You won't pay? Off to jail you go. Off to jail. But not even for not paying. The wife says you beat her. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Instead of doing something like, for example, I don't know, putting an ankle bracelet on you, which would make sense, right? Because maybe you're going to go get your wife, put an ankle bracelet, become close to your wife, the cops get called. Instead, we put a restraining order on you. That does not come through criminal court. Therefore, there is no due process. It's just because I say so. That's it. So you're a criminal without due process. And then you go to pick up your son or daughter. Your wife is nearby. The cops come. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. You don't have any money because you give your money to your lawyer. You don't have bail. You're sitting in jail for 30 days. You can't make any payments because you can't work because you're in jail. The judge doesn't care. Pay anyway. That happens every single day. Putting fathers in a situation to where they have to do one of three things. Do something illegal, right? Abandon their family, or wind up going to jail. This happens all the time. It has to end. But here's the worst part. I'm not even done. This system is so broken. On top of that, now you're the uncle. You're the uncle, right? So they don't want to give you the kid because you're a bad guy. So you say, I'll take the kid. I love my nephew. I'll take him. The judge goes, ooh, no, because you're the brother. You might let dad see the kid, so no. Judges say that. Wow, is that stupid? Wow, is that stupid? You won't give the kid to kin because he might see the dad. He might see his own father. That might happen. Wow, is that horrible? And they'd rather give the kid up to foster care or CPS because the state gets paid by the federal government whenever that, yes, that's what, you know that system. That's what happens. State gets paid. It's a money-making scheme. It's horribly bad. It should not exist. And the last piece of this is family court is seen as the junior court. It's a kids' table. The judges who are there can't stand it. They wish they weren't there. They want to be in Supreme Court. And so, of course, they're angry, and they punish everybody. It's a terrible place to be. They don't like it. Now, to be forward with you, Elliot Spitzer wanted to fix this in 2006. He saw it. He wanted to fix it. But then he started importing ladies of the evening from other states, and he lost his job. But he actually wanted to change the entire system. So I'm not the first person to talk about this. This was a problem 10, 15 years ago. But I'm the only candidate bringing this up. And if you care about this issue, this is the only guy talking about it. This is the only guy talking about it. You got to vote gold. Thank you so much. Yes. Did I answer your question?
A lot of the examples you give tend to be more the fringes. They're true.
Yes.
But they're the fringes.
Yes.
I'm talking about what's going to probably more affect almost every guy in the room, and that's the average Joe who doesn't have drug problems, alcohol problems,
Yep.
supports his wife and kids, is a loving father, and by default, when you walk into that courtroom on day one,
Yep.
you never stood a chance of getting
Yep.
50-50 time with your
Exactly right. Yes.
when your wife decides to leave you for no reason or any reason,
Whatever reason. I agree.
you have by default, without an insurmountable amount of money
Yep.
forked out of your pocket,
Yep.
which she does not have to provide.
Look, I'm agreeing with you completely. What I said, my second piece is that it should be 50-50 parenting. That's where it should begin. I literally said that. That's how it should begin. 50-50 parenting is where it begins. Now, if you want to negotiate out of that, I don't have a problem with that, right? If one parent agrees that the other one should have, that's fine. But the beginning should be 50-50. Of course it should be. Absolutely. Because children with kin should be the key. That's the key. Children with kin should matter. And it doesn't. It's like a third thing on the side. I agree completely. Yes. Great. Did I answer your question at least? Yes. Thank you. Awesome. Go ahead, please. Yes.
Larry, what is your plan to eliminate New York State income taxes?
Yes.
And everybody should listen to this.
Yes. This is very hard, but I want to get rid of New York State's income tax in 4 years. That is a hard thing to do. It is really tough. To be very clear, this is challenging, but it can be done. Why do I want to do it? I want to do it for several reasons. One, we don't fight with the federal government anymore. That's a good thing. Number two, it'll give every single working New Yorker a raise overnight without having to spend any extra money. And number three, it'll be more attractive for businesses to come back to this state, right, and to stay in this state. So there's reasons why I want to do it. But again, very hard. The state income tax is give or take $40 to $50 billion of our $170 billion budget. So it's not a small thing, but it can be done. Three things. Why I'm saying it must take 4 years. I can't do it in under 4 years. It's just not going to happen. Number one, we got to start raising money through ways other than taxation. We always think of taxation. There's got to be different ways. Some of you know some ideas. I'll give you a couple of them now. One of them, why aren't we leasing naming rights to our infrastructure throughout this state? We have massive, amazing infrastructure, bridges, tunnels, the Erie Canal. So many things we have. The Erie Canal has 520 some odd miles on it, and it's about 36, I think, give or take, locks. Right? We have bridges in the New York City area, dozens of it. It's insane how many we have. Tunnels and bridges, all kind of stuff. Right now, we actually have the Mario Cuomo Bridge. You know that, right? Yeah, that's an embarrassment. Yes, exactly right. Right? Why isn't that the Sprint Bridge or the Kellogg's Bridge or the Apple Bridge or the insert thing here? Whatever it is, Key Bank Bridge, whatever it is. That drop billions of dollars every single year on marketing, and they drop $20 million on a stadium. Why wouldn't they drop $50 million, $100 million on a bridge that is literally mentioned hundreds of times every single day and during rush hour in a 16 million metro person area? Of course they would. Absolutely they would. How do I know that? I live in Queens. I work in Manhattan. I've already had bankers ask me about how do we finance this thing. What are you talking about? Which means that there's interest. Now, is it 100 million? I don't know that. Maybe it's 50. I don't know what it is. But there is money at every one of these things. Why aren't we, instead of doing our having right now with the Erie Canal costs us about $100 million to run, including capital projects. We make less than $5 million on it. Again, not a hard math problem to figure out. That's not working. How about instead we start naming the locks? Each lock gets a name. It becomes a tourist site. It's the McDonald's lock or the Pepsi lock or whatever. I'm dead serious. We could improve the entire Erie Canal and not spend one taxpayer dollar. Yes. The whole thing. And I'm saying, I'm serious about this, I want to put hovercraft on the Erie Canal. Yep, hovercraft. Why hovercraft? When I was in the Marine Corps 30 years ago, we had hovercraft that could tank across the ocean. You have something cool now? Of course we do. I don't even know what it is. I don't have to know what it is, right? Your brothers at RIT will figure it out. They'll figure it out, and they'll show up, and they'll fix it, and they'll show me how to do it. And we'll build locks, and it'll be cool, and people will come by, and they want to put their names on the side of hovercraft, and people will show up, and we'll move product from Buffalo to Albany, and all kind of cool things. And no taxpayer dollars. That's the key. We can do that. Imagine, though, with my bridge. Now we got a bridge. The bridge pays us $50 million. I make that up per year, right? Awesome. But on top of that, they're responsible for maintenance. They take care of maintenance. What does that mean? We don't pay for maintenance. I just lowered spending. Oh, crazy. Lowered spending. But more importantly, I've also lowered corruption because that doesn't go through me anymore. It goes through Sprint or whomever is now owning the bridge. It goes through them. They have their own purchasing issues. They can do that. But Larry, if you put the bridge and give it to Sprint, it'll collapse. Number one, I'm not giving it up. I'm a business guy. I don't lose the asset. All I do is lease the naming rights. We still own the asset, which means we inspect the asset. If it's not good enough, they repair it. They don't repair it, they lose the contract. Safer bridges. Yes, we get safer. Right now, bridges in New York State collapse. They do. But what if it was a Sprint bridge and they lose the contract, they didn't fix it? They'd fix it. Safer bridges, less money, less corruption. Win, win, win. But here's the best part of all of it. No tolls. Why have tolls? No need for tolls. You're a trucker, I used to be a trucker. You're not going to drop $75 to $100 to cross a bridge anymore. Your average person costs you $15 to cross some bridges. $15. It's crazy to cross a bridge. It's insane. We can do that easily. I'm not even done. I-81. Someone said, Larry, how are you going to repair I-81? It's a disaster. How are you going to fund I-81? I said, I'm not going to. He said, what? It's a disaster. You got to fix it. I know. I'm not going to fund it. What does fund mean? Taxes. Yes, it does. I'm not going to fund it. They said, how are you going to fix it? I said, Google Road. I'm going to let Google build a road right next to it, or whomever wants to build it. I made up Google, right? Whoever it is, builds a road next to it. They can have whatever road they want. It'll have their cool electric stuff in it. It could have, driverless cars, whatever they want. I don't mind. And their rent for keeping that is to maintain the interstate next to it. Now what happens? We now have options. You want to drive the interstate? Go ahead. You want to jump on the Google Road and take a driverless car? Go ahead. Whatever's your issue, I don't mind. More option, more choice, less spending. These are the ideas I keep talking about, I bring up constantly. We have the MTA in New York City, right? Crosses about 11 different areas. Right now, New York State pays the MTA about $6 billion a year because it can't make enough money. That's basically bailing it out. Every year, $6 billion to bail it out. How about instead, not just those naming rights for those bridges and tunnels, but on top of it, all those rail lines that are not used at night by passengers, why aren't they freight lines? Use freight lines coming into the city. Freight lines come on in. What does that do? The freight forwarders pay the actual fees. They repair the actual rail, which during the daytime is used by us, but at nighttime used by them. They pay to create a hub. They do it all, and less truck traffic into the city, less wear and tear on the bridges. Everybody wins. Lots of money. We pay less. Better service. No taxpayer money. Yeah. Yes. As great as these ideas sound to be forward with you, they're not enough. That's not enough to make up that income tax. It's a lot. It is billions, but it's probably not 40 or 50. It probably isn't enough. Two of this you got to work on. One of those is Medicaid. Medicaid is crushing us like there's no tomorrow. It is beating us up. It is a huge part of our budget, locally, county, and also state. We got to fix it. There are many ideas to fix it. One of them is to fix the healthcare system itself to bring costs down. But there's something else we can do, a nice simple idea that will also add, and that is changing the copays. The copays right now are $1 and $3. You guys, anybody here in the EMT world? So you know, right? So you know there's a whole bunch of people using ambulances like taxis, right? What do you call them? Frequent flyers. Exactly right. Yes. Why? It's $3. Cheaper than Uber. Why wouldn't you use it, right? So you do. So how about it? Yes, that's correct. Now here's the worst part about that. How about when you actually have chest pains or an open wound? You're waiting for someone who's saying, oh, my back, drop me off by my sister. Yeah, you're waiting for that, right? Or you go to an emergency room and there's 14 people ahead of you with stubbed toes. When you got chest pains or an open wound, make it 12 and 36, things will change. Now it's $36. They won't just do it. But some still will. Because some of you may not know this, but they don't chase anybody who doesn't pay. Right? Those of you may not know, they don't chase anybody. Right? Why? Because it's $3. It's not worth chasing. When it's $36, you do it 3, 4, 5 times. Now it is. Because in mass, it becomes worthy of selling the debt. And the debt will be sold. How do I know that? Again, I work in Manhattan. People buy debt all the time. You get massive debt, people will buy it. And that's what happens all the time. How do we know this? You think I'm making this up? Look at how the counties often use law enforcement as a profit center. What do? They take your ticket, that was $50, and they tack on a $200 surcharge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, why? Because if you don't pay, that's the amount of money it takes for a collection agency to grab it. Yes, the collection agency grabs it, and they sell the debt 30 cents on the dollar to a collection agency. You don't actually go to court. They destroy your credit. That's how they respond. And there are companies that their job is getting money from people like that. That's what they do for a living. They will buy that debt. So you have to make it high enough to where it becomes debt, but not too high where people don't use it. And as a business guy, I know $40 is a psychological number. If you go to 40 or more, some people who have a problem actually won't call. I don't want you to not call. I want you to call. $36 is a good number to make sure that you will actually call if you have a problem, but the guy or gal who's scamming will begin to stop, because once they see the lawsuit actually comes, someone's calling them, they will stop. They will stop, and you will see it come down. Now, can I stop fraud? Of course I can't. Can I diminish it? Yes, I can, and this system will. It'll make it less. It'll make it easier. It'll make it better, bringing costs down. Again, that's one thing. That's not enough, but that's a bunch, and that will help. The last piece you have to work, I'm sorry, one more thing. Also, $12 for a doctor's visit. $12. Right now it's $1 for a doctor's visit. Larry, some people can't afford $12. You're on Medicare. I'm Medicaid. You can afford $12 for a doctor's visit. How do I know? You have a cell phone. You can afford $12. You can afford $12. And what if you can't? What if you're literally like homeless? That's okay. If you're really that desperate, and there are people who are really in trouble, who are actually homeless, they don't pay anyway. I can make it $1 million. It doesn't matter. They're not paying anyway. So the people who are really hurting don't suffer, and the people who aren't hurting can actually pay for this and make it cheaper and lower all of our costs, even at the local level. We can make that happen. But I'm still not done. You asked a big deal, and it takes a lot. This is not simple. This is multiple things. And even the healthcare piece, there's still more on that. I could spend another hour talking about that. But we'll go one more step, and that is we've got to fix our pension bomb. There's a pension bomb right now in our budget. Our budget, about 15% of our pension, of our budget is the pension. This is a big deal. Now, right now, people say, Larry, it doesn't matter. Our pensions are well funded. This is an accurate statement. It is. But it's 15% of our budget. What happens when it's 20% or 25% or 30%, which is happening? It was 12%, 2 years ago? Popped up 3 points in 1 or 2 years? And the budget's gone up $20 billion? So the percentage went up and the overall budget went up. This is going to blow up. Some people say it's 10 years. I don't know when it is, but here's what I know. New York State is the most unionized state in the entire country. If our pension bomb explodes, this state becomes Somalia overnight. I'm not joking. We cannot lose those pensions. We do that, this state becomes Somalia overnight. And what I always get is, Larry, you don't understand. It's in the Constitution. You have to pay it. I get that. Ask Puerto Rico. Ask Detroit. Ask Venezuela. Yeah, it'll still happen. Constitution or not. If New York State defaults, it defaults. Now, odds are Illinois would default first because Illinois is at like 27% funding or some crazy number. We're pretty high. We're pretty good. We've got some time. But I'm saying talk now before it goes under. I will openly talk with every union, and there are dozens of them. But I will talk with all of them, and we'll negotiate out a situation to where we have it fair. The problem is, of course, many people who are getting pensions aren't paying in anymore, right? They're already out. But we have to have a situation where we can deal with them, give them something fair so they're still getting paid out, at the same time make sure the young guys coming in are still getting their pension, and it's around them, we can still get into some kind of privatized 401k, 403b, so that now it is either a very small percentage of our budget or a flat fee in our budget that is now manageable. That will take years of negotiating. It will take years, maybe 4 years, give or take. We do those three things, we get rid of state income tax. That's how we do it. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Go ahead.
Most of us talk about your plan to repeal the SAFE Act.
Yep.
And before that, of course, to take the teeth out of the SAFE Act.
Yep.
Beyond those two things, why
Can you
is
give me
it
my
that
water?
places like California, New York, and a lot of major cities
No, it's right there. Go
are
ahead.
able to break federal law
Yep.
and just totally disregard the Second Amendment? And what can we do about that? As far as pressuring
Excuse me.
the federal government to
Nothing.
step in?
Nothing. Nothing. I'm in fault with you. Nothing. The problem is there's still a lot of people who are either ignorant or anti-gun. There's a lot of people that way, right? It's a fact. It's just the way it is. There are people now to this day who have been openly saying we should repeal the Second Amendment. Have you seen it? Openly saying we should repeal the Second Amendment. The reason why we're losing the Second Amendment battle is because what you just said. So many people say, but it's constitutional, and nobody cares. It's obvious. There's no one who actually respects the Constitution who doesn't get the Second Amendment matters. We get that. If you care about the Second Amendment, you get it. But so many Americans go, I don't care. It should be repealed. Doesn't work. The marketing being done by those who want to remove the Second Amendment, really good. I may make some of you angry, but it's really good. They called it the SAFE Act. Brilliant. It must make us safer. It's got safe in the name. Well done. They added the, what's that provision that helps first responders? The Webster provision that on top of the SAFE Act, you get more time in jail if you attack a first responder. Has nothing to do with the SAFE Act. But it was put in there on purpose. So if you said, I don't want the SAFE Act, why do you hate first responders? Oh, brilliantly done. The marketing is amazing. And that's why they're winning. You're concerned about what is constitutional. Most people don't care. And that sounds horrible. I'm just telling you the truth. That's how it works. So what I'm trying to do is show people that the world doesn't end. If you ask many people in New York, is the SAFE Act good? Clearly most say yes. They literally say, it's made us safer. They're wrong. It hasn't. How do we know that? Because I'm the only guy saying what I'm saying. There are 5 people running for governor. Which one of them says the SAFE Act is bad? Only this one. Only this one. No one else says it. That should be your evidence, right? If you're on the left, you think SAFE Act's awesome and it doesn't go far enough. We need more. They want red flag laws. You guys know what red flag laws are? Red flag laws are why I'm so adamant. Here's a red flag law. She's a teacher, bachelor student. He's a 10 or 12-year-old boy. He loves a TV show where the cops go get the bad guys. He loves that TV show. So he's in school and he draws a picture of the agent, and the agent's got a gun. And she goes, ooh, that's a gun. Ooh, that's a gun. I'm scared about that gun. She then goes to the judge and goes, Judge, that kid, he drew a picture and it's got a gun. I'm not sure if that's good or not. Judge goes, is that right? Go to his dad's house, take his guns. That's red flag laws. But Larry, that won't happen. It's already happening with SAFE Act. SAFE Act has made our medical community part of a secret state police and take people's firearms away. That's what SAFE Act has done. When I tell the average New Yorker that, they don't believe me. I'm not joking. They actually Google it because they don't believe it's true. They don't know that. When I tell them that literally it's hurting by percentage our veterans more than others because our veterans tend to have more mental issues compared to the non-veterans, and they tend to have weapons more than non-veterans. So it hurts them more. So now veterans won't go get help because they lose their firearms and they get reported. Yes, they won't get help. It hurts them tremendously. And when I tell people this, Democrats included, they go, oh, that's not fair. Yeah, that's not right. Yeah. I don't talk Constitution because they don't care. I talk hurting vets. They care about that. I talk hurting people. They care about that. I talk secret police. They care about that. So now we're going to add with red flag laws, teachers being part of our secret police. No, I'm not going to accept that. No, I will fight that tooth and nail. I'm going to fight that. No, no more secret police. Not going to happen. If you're a Democrat, you're okay with secret police. You're good with that. If you're a Republican, you say things like this. Ask any Republican who's running for office, say fact. They'll do two things. They will start to talk about what they did in the past and how they did good stuff in the past and they're fighting for our rights. Then they will dodge and talk about school safety. And they will have no answer because they have no answer. Or they'll go, well, chip at the edges. That's the right bit. Chip at the edges. We have red flag laws ready to be passed right now. You're not holding the line. I'm sorry, Republicans, you've lost this battle. You've lost this battle. Yes. We have to fight this battle, and I'm prepared to fight it. Did I at least answer your question? Yes. Great, awesome. You go ahead. Yes. No, I'm sorry. Her in the back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Two things. First, on the red flag issue.
Yes.
My father is a disabled veteran.
Yep.
My father also has severe mental disabilities
Yep.
and has come after my sister with his weapon.
Sure.
What is your policy as far as gun control if SAFE Act is repealed?
Yeah, we can, look, be clear. It's still fine if someone needs to lose their rights for a specific reason. Of course. If they're a danger to themselves or danger to others, of course. Doesn't mean look, there's also the weapons provision, right? If we still want to protect our first responders, let's pass a law to protect them. I'm fine with that too. But that doesn't mean everybody pays a price. And here's the worst part. With the SAFE Act, it is a list that you don't know about and there's no appeal. But if you were to petition the government to say, my father's in trouble and should lose his rights because of X, Y, and Z, I don't have a problem with the judge having due process to make that happen. Totally fine with that. No issues at all.
There's no due process. I'm sorry, I'm new to politics.
No worries. In the SAFE Act, there's no due process. And that's my biggest problem. Look, we talk often about even getting gun permits, right, in New York State. I'm not against the county saying that you shouldn't have a gun for whatever reason, as long as two things are true. One, they give you a legal reason why you can't have your firearm, and they give you an appeals process. If they do those two things, I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with, I don't like you. No. I don't like you. No. I don't like guns. No, I'm not okay with that. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Good. Yes. So I think it was you next.
Yeah, so the NICS list, is that what you were talking about?
That's a separate list.
Okay, 'cause,
Yes.
One of my professors, Paul Simonelli, Mark Simonelli's brother, he's an attorney. He's got people, he had this one guy he was representing who was a cop for 25 years.
Yep.
And then he had a surgery. He got sent back with the wrong kind of medication.
There we go. Perfect example.
The doctor calls him and says, you have to go back in to get detox, it's dangerous, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
He goes in, he gets detox. The nurse says, are you nervous? He
Yep.
says, yes, I'm
Of
nervous.
course.
I got a dangerous medication
Yes.
for no reason, blah, blah, blah. She checks him off. He doesn't know about it.
Yep.
He gets put on the NICS list. He's been a cop for 25 years. He gets pulled over and arrested because,
Yep.
and then they go to court.
I didn't plant this guy.
The judge says,
I didn't, I swear I didn't. I did not plant this guy.
the judge says, yeah, that's wrong. But then New York, then they said, but the NICS list is a national list.
Yep.
So New York has to, they put them on the list. So
Yep.
New York has to take them off. The judge orders it and nothing's happened.
That's correct.
It's got
That is the norm.
1,000 people like
Yes,
They don't
that
know.
happens all the time. Safe facts. But note what I just talked about. I talked about the wrongness of it, not the constitutionality of it, because that doesn't work. We've been trying that for decades. It fails every time. I'm not about being righteous. I'm about happy New Yorkers. I'm about what's right in that regard. But I don't want to just go, look, if Constitution doesn't work, I'll do whatever it takes to make it work. You need something? Okay, good. Yes, yes, yes. Good. Yes. Did I answer yours? Good. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, welcome to Fairport.
Thank you.
We want to switch it up a little bit and talk about economic development.
Sure,
Fairport's
absolutely.
just done a lot of local initiatives.
Yep.
To make our village very beautiful and what it is.
Sure.
But we've also had support on certain programs through New York State.
Sure.
So you want to talk about Empire State Development a little bit?
Absolutely. Let me be very clear about it. Love this idea. 100%. I'm happy to tell you, every single economic development corporation needs to go away. They are terrible. Horrible. Go away, all of them. They are literally petri dishes for corruption. You put money, corruption grows out. Guaranteed. Look at every one of the guys and gals who've been arrested, indicted, who've been convicted. They're all on some kind of board or committee or commission or authority. All of them. This is a horrible system. Who in the hell says some 4 or 5 guys on some board know what's right for your community? I have an idea. How about you know locally what's right for your community? What I get all the time is, but Larry, this is a good investment. And I say, great, if it's a good investment, why don't I have 5 bankers from Manhattan running out with checkbooks? They do investments every day. That's literally their job. They're bankers, right? You've got a great investment. Why aren't they writing checks? It's not a great investment. It's a great way to pay back my cronies. It's a great way to pay back people who hooked me up. It's a great way to make sure that I can reward the party loyal. That's all that is. No. And worst part is, it's never efficient. It never works out the way they say, ever. It's always wasted, and it's always cronyism. Every single time. It is horrible. It's a bad idea. Here's what I want to do instead. I do not want to start bringing big business back to New York. That may sound crazy, but I don't. Because right now, how do we get big business to New York? We bribe them. We bribe them. That's what we do. We bribe them. We say, hey, big business, come to New York, to this town. I know who I want to build. Here we go. My cronies will build your situation. We'll take taxpayer dollars to build it that we've taken from other places. We'll play Hunger Games to see who fights hard enough for it. We'll then give you that. Big business comes in. I give you tens of millions of dollars in benefits. So whatever benefit the community was going to get is destroyed because of the bribes I gave you. You're already big business, so you're better than all the people around you. You have advantages. Now I gave you bribes on top of that, so you crush all the businesses around you. The bribes go away in 5 years. You leave, ghost town. Rinse, repeat for decades. No more. You want to fix this state economically? Support small businesses. Number 1 issue, support small businesses. That is the answer. I don't want to build this out or build that out or put this up, build it, they will come. No, I don't want to do that. Instead, I want to give people reasons to want to be here. I don't want to be the guy who goes, let me reward my cronies. I want to be the marketer in chief. I want to market us as a place to be and show that people can actually be here. That's what I want to do. How do you support small business? I'll give you several ideas. And again, there are many of them. Let me give you a couple. Number 1, there's a law right now in Wyoming that says if you're a local farmer and you sell only locally and not across state borders, you are immune from federal regulatory bodies. Why can't we copy that here in New York State, not just for small farmers, but for any small business? You're a small business, and you're selling only within our state. Why do I have to give you any other laws? Why is that required? You're not crossing state lines. Number 1 helps. Second, why don't we treat small farmers like small businesses? Literally, let our small farmers who are struggling tremendously be treated like small businesses, meaning they don't get hammered on insurance. They don't get hammered on workers' comp. Not just that, they get small business loans. And on top of that, they can create their own facilities on their farms to make products. Wouldn't that be awesome for small farmers? But I'm still not done. Why do we have workers' comp in this state where we have to have workers' comp that's both job-related and non-job related? Not all states do that. We do. Why do we have an actual insurance board in New York State that hunts businesses down to punish them? Literally. Have you guys, anyone here who started a small business? Did you get that $40,000 bill from workers' comp? Or that $30,000 bill from workers' comp? You know, thank you. You know that happens all the time. They hunt you down and then negotiate lower when you've done nothing wrong. They punish you. That goes away. That has to, we do not need a separate state insurance board, not required. You do that, you will find the small businesses will begin to thrive again. But I'm not even done. Why in the world aren't we joining and embracing all the new ideas? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, hemp, cannabis, vaping, Uber, all the new, bring them in. Why in the world we push them out? Because what New York State does very well is keep old money and push out new money. We like the old money. If you're an old Wall Street banker, boy, we love you. You're not that, get out of my state. You're not that, get out of my state. We should instead allow and hope that small businesses will begin to have craft grows, craft brews, like the beer industry. You've seen it expand in this state. Why aren't we doing it with hemp and cannabis? Why aren't we doing that? Hemp and cannabis should be regulated like onions. Yes, I said onions. I'm not joking. Imagine if all of a sudden the small farms could do hemp and cannabis and create specialized craft products like hemp rope, specialized hempcrete, hemp plastic, cannabis for people who sleep, cannabis for people who are sick, cannabis for people who want to hang out. I don't care, whatever they want. Again, I don't have a horse in this race. I'm the squarest guy you're going to meet. The only drug I use is caffeine. That's it. That's how I stay so up. That's all I use. Yes. So to answer your question, I don't know where he went. To answer your question, I don't want economic development corporations. They don't help. I want to let the individual small business owner get back on track. Not just that. One more thing in supporting small business. Licensing and regulations. Why in the world do we have insane licensing rules in this state? When I was a kid in the South Bronx, poor community, what did I see? I saw people in a stoop braiding hair to make money. I saw guys out front banging out the cars. Those of you remember cars, and they used to be metal. They would bang out, right? And then buff them and then paint them for money. We used to have gypsy cabs in my neighborhood. I grew up in the ghetto. I didn't grow up in a cool neighborhood at all. I grew up in a bad area. And when I grew up, cabs didn't come to my area. So what happened? They had gypsy cabs. We didn't have Uber back then, right? So you'd have a car, a guy would have a car. He'd paint one door a different color. That's how you knew it was a cab, right? So gypsy cabs, and we had that. All that went away. Now there's a license for braiding hair, a license for walking dogs. Now they beat you up for being an Uber driver. You have to have a medallion to have a yellow taxi in New York City. All the immigrant poor communities, that entrepreneurial spirit, crushed, destroyed. Instead, we should open it up. Who is the person who starts a hair braiding business or a dog walking business? Is there, big braiders? Is that some kind of thing? Big dog walkers? Of course not. It's the guy or gal who wants to do something better with their life, who wants to make a second step, and we crush them. You want to braid hair in New York State? This is true. You must pay $20,000 to get enough education to braid hair. And that will support small businesses. Great.
Those people can't afford it. Sorry, Larry.
Yeah, yes, exactly, yes.
Can I cut you off to shake hands and take selfies and all that good stuff?
All right, yes, go ahead, please, yes.
All right, that's it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what would your take be on it?
Yes.
My jury's still out on this hemp and all this.
Absolutely. Let me talk
I have
about the
friends
opioid
that
crisis.
have kids in high school, they're vaping.
Yep.
The opioids are.
Yep.
It's a crisis.
100%. Let me deal with this. If you're a Democrat, your answer is nothing. If you're a Republican, your answer is nothing. There's no answer. They give you no answer to the opioid crisis. Nothing. None. My answer is several-fold. Number one, get rid of OASIS. OASIS is actually the actual organization in New York State that's supposed to be fighting this addiction. Yeah, they're not working. They're failing. All they're doing is slowing people down. The reality of it is people get off of addiction many different ways. How do I know? My mom was an addict. I know that, right? I've had an addict in my family. If you have an addict in your family, you know how hard it is. So I'm open to people doing other issues and other ideas if they want to. First thing we can do at a state level, absolutely allow for cannabis products. 100%. What do I get? But Larry, marijuana is a gateway drug. It is not at all a gateway drug. The data is in. The data is in Portugal. They've done studies in Norway. They've done studies in Switzerland, California, Washington, Colorado. Not true. It was a gateway drug if it's illegal and I'm in the black market and I sell many drugs. I want you to get on my drug and my other drugs too. Because I run a marijuana and I'm going to do it. How about trying heroin? Of course, if it's the black market. But once you go to a weed store, why would you get on heroin? I'm serious. Why would you get on heroin? It's the weed store. You're getting to get weed. That's what you're doing. So that gateway goes away, but there's more than that. Most people who are addicted, they came from an FDA-approved drug prescription for pain. You have cannabis, people will choose cannabis products. How do we know that? It's already happening. The data is in. It is absolutely true. You will have less people becoming addicts if you legalize cannabis. But it's not enough. That's one step. The second piece is cannabis can be used to treat withdrawal symptoms. So if you want to get off of your drug, you can use cannabis to come off of your drug. So you have more people coming off the drug. So cannabis helps tremendously. Also, letting people heal the way they want to heal. What does that mean? Some people need religion. Some people need drugs. Some people need a hug. Some people need exercise. I don't care what you need. Heal yourself the way you want to heal yourself. No one up top should be telling you this is the only way to heal yourself. I don't know when is going to be the time that some addict decides to not be an addict. Is it the first I love you, the 100th I love you, the 400th I love you? I don't know what that is. The mayor of Ithaca wants to have sites where people can come to take their drugs legally. If you do that legally, go ahead. Let a local community decide if they want to. You don't want it, don't have it. Let it try it. If they want to try it and it works, good for them. If it doesn't, I'm okay with that too. My point is, let the communities figure ways to heal this. They can. I don't want to stop them. Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Marijuana is incredibly expensive.
Yes.
Do you have any idea on lowering prices?
Onions. Did you not hear what I said? Onions. I do not want to tax it like everyone says. No, if you tax it and regulate it, here's what I promise you. Big business wins, small business loses, black market continues. How do we know that? That's happening now in California. To be clear, you can get medical marijuana in New York State. You can. There's one dispensary in Manhattan. It's on Wall Street. And right next to it is a guy with a bicycle with a bunch of stuff for a whole lot cheaper. The black market's right there. I don't want a black market. I want onions. I want you to be able to, if you have chronic pain, if you have chronic pain in this state, right now you have three options. Option one, opioid, you get in trouble. Suffer, or illegal. How about instead, you're poor, you have chronic pain, grow your medicine in your backyard. I said onions. That's what I said, onions. Onions aren't expensive. Great, yes. Thank you guys. Thank you. Guys, remember something. Thank you, yes. If you guys want to help out, remember, it's Larry Sharp from New York, or it's LarrySharp.com, and that's Larry Sharp with an E, and the E stands for? Electable. Yes, it does. Thank you. Oh.
Larry, can you sit up here?
Oh, Andrew, come on up.
Here.
Come on up.
Everyone,
Could you come closer?
Yep.
Come closer to the stage, please.
Yeah, or get on the stage. I don't care.
Get
on the stage.
Yeah, there we go. Good. Yes, good.
Well, no, that actually doesn't work now.
That's what I said, yeah. Yeah, that's what I said.
I was wrong.
There we go, yes, exactly. Yeah, there we go. Yes, right.
Yeah, you can stand and take a knee, it's fine. All right, we're going to say Larry on three. Everybody? 1, 2, 3. Larry! Yeah. All right.
Good. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Good. Do it. Come on.
Worst picture
Very
ever.
good. That's all right. Good. Good seeing you.
Go
Thank
turn
you.
off the live
Yes,
stream
go.
stuff.
Yes. Yes.
When are you debating Cuomo live on TV so I can see you just
August. I mean October.
October?
Yes. Yes. October.
Be live
Yes.
on TV.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Did we bring shirts? Do you know?
I have a van full of them.
You gonna bring them in?
Says she has